Okay.
Okay, and please
So remove,
just
remove in relation to, yeah, okay, thank you. Okay,
And
and one more, once more.
so you add to give assistance to those who don't have the capacities. Okay, that's a good issue. Thank you very much.
do that later. Could I ask, please, to just to go back quickly to G number 3. G number 3, number 3, yes. In there, we suggest earlier climate change and disaster risk reduction, and then all of a sudden the disaster risk reduction was deleted. Please put it back. Thank you.
Okay. Everybody happy? Shall we go to the next sentence?
Okay, so we go to I.
I.
Yes.
Any change in I?
I starts with gender responsive budgeting.
Europe, you're number one. Microphone, please.
Oh, just one. I would ask you to exchange excluded with most disadvantaged.
Especially the poorest and most disadvantaged. That's a good change. If everybody agrees. Especially the poorest and most disadvantaged. No objections.
Okay, everybody happy? Okay, let's go to J. I hope there is no objection.
Governments and international organizations should monitor, prepare
Southeast
for,
Asia.
etc.
Microphone, please, over there. Thank you.
For letter J, this is an integration of 3 comments or suggestions. Governments and international organizations, including donor agencies, should monitor, prepare for, and donor agencies should monitor, prepare for, and respond to climate-induced migration and climate-triggered social conflicts and human displacement, climate-triggered social conflicts and human displacement, paying special attention as is to the needs of women and children. May I repeat? Governments and international organizations, including donor agencies, should monitor, prepare for, and respond to climate-induced migration and climate-triggered social conflicts and human displacement, paying special attention to the needs of women and children.
Those are great additions, and I think there's a lot of consensus up here. We'd love to hear more feedback there. One quick response regarding the conflict aspect. Donor agencies aren't necessarily responsible to respond to conflict, actually, so that's not necessarily in their mandate. I understand the desire to have somebody held responsible to prepare for that. I'm wondering if we should get rid of the conflict there. We do have it in 2 other places. Or delete the part about donor agencies. Because then we're implying that donor agencies are responsible to respond to conflict, and actually they're not. So that's like a voluntary thing, if they wanted to be involved. But international organizations that are related to conflict, that would be an implicit correlation, like Red Cross, etc. So those are 2 options, and then if we do decide to get rid of I actually like including donor organizations.
So the options is either you
I would
remove
delete the
donors
conflict part.
or remove conflict. What is your choice?
Sorry, can I go back to I for a moment?
Can we
Very
wrap
quick.
up? Let's wrap up this
Go
one
back to I.
question first.
Go back to I. How would you do it? You,
Is this about G?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Actually, what we would like to emphasize is the climate-triggered social conflicts. There are conflicts that are not climate-triggered, but we should because we have discussed earlier, no, that in areas where there is conflict and then added with this climate change, the burden, especially to women and children, is greater. So that's why we would like to emphasize that.
Okay.
Can you see that donors and the addressing of conflicts and donors doesn't go in the same line? So that's the problem. So we have to
I think
fix
I
it.
have the microphone right now, and I think I raised my hand before. I would just like to relate to the phrase on migration. There is going to be a global conference on migration tomorrow, beginning tomorrow until next week. So can we specify that kind of migration? And in terms of the conflict, I think you should just simply say conflicts and not social conflicts, because climate change can be induced politically and so on, geopolitically, definitely. So I think just take the social out of the conflict. Every conflict is social to begin with, but other causes can come in. So what about the migration thing? Because I sort of
hello. Can
can't
we
imagine.
settle first your conflict thing before we go to another topic? Are you agreeing to her suggestion? So how would you read it? So no more social conflict, just conflict, okay? So you're talking migration? Yeah, so can you finish your comment on migration?
It's just that migration right now is very much
Yeah,
onto
but where
the.
is it here? Where is it, the one you're commenting?
It's in the under J, you know.
Okay, so how will you put it?
Climate-induced migration. I'm just saying that migration right now is very much into people, you know, coming in
Hello.
for economic
If I
migration.
remember right, there was a sentence up there that says forced migration.
Forced migration.
Yes.
Induced migration, but maybe movement of people or something, because migration has gotten a different meaning right now. That's my observation.
Yeah.
This is climate related.
I would,
Again, what's your comment?
to respond to that, I would keep the migration, but I have 2 points here. I don't think international organizations and donor agencies can be held responsible to compensate for climate-triggered conflicts. I think we are dealing with different issues here. The one is forced migration due to climate change, like raising water levels.
Yeah.
And so governments can take care of
Yeah.
climate change conflicts, but then we have to separate it. If we list it like this, it just doesn't make sense. International organizations, donors can't be held responsible for everything.
Okay. There are already
So-
two opinions about removing, either you remove donor or you remove climate conflict risk. Can we go back to the people who suggested it? Do you agree?
We need to remove the climate-triggered conflicts. You can't hold international organizations responsible for taking care
Yeah,
and,
yes.
and compensating for climate-induced
Yes.
social
Can we-
conflicts or
yeah.
conflicts.
Can we listen to their response to your comment? What's your response?
Actually, wait, our question on if we cannot make governments and international organizations
Just
hold
donors,
responsible.
Just
the
donors.
donor as responsible to climate-triggered conflicts. How about climate-induced migrations? Can we
That is
hold
okay.
them responsible? But for us, for me, in particular, well, I could say, yeah, we cannot hold the donor agencies responsible. It's an option for donor agencies to respond or not to respond. But I think for the government, they should respond.
So can we have a specific text suggestion then?
Can I add? Where we are talking about international organizations, of course, are even like the UN and the World Bank and whatever. Donor agencies are